Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and briefly I wanted to talk a little bit about a story that I read recently to do with this 9-year-old girl whose parents took her on this sort of tourist trap gun range where she was firing off an Uzi and accidentally, when it was put into full automatic mode, shot in the head and killed her gun instructor. I have to say this really gave me pause because I've always been kind of on the fence and not sure where I fully stood on the whole gun lobbyist versus lawmaker versus gun regulation kind of topic, you know. I come from a background where my mother was deathly scared of her ex, who was very sort of psychotic, in and out of jail. So she only felt safe when she knew my dad had both a handgun and a shotgun in the house. And I, of course, being a child, didn't really know that until I was more of age, of adult age. And I feel like I was raised right for that, but I was also raised to, respect weaponry like that, but also not particularly care for wanting to have anything to do with it either. I've never been a subscriber of the Ted Nugent aesthetic where you got to have weapons, 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 and go out and hunt. That's the only way you know you're a real man, and the blood and the viscera of animals that you've killed and slaughtered. I don't subscribe to that belief. I don't subscribe to the aesthetic that with the militarization of the police forces around the country and everything like that around the world, but mostly in the U.S., that, we need bigger, badder weapons to combat them because they are roving around with tanks and SWAT teams and militaristic gear and stuff like that. Yes, I perceive that as a genuine potential threat down the line, and of course you want to be able to defend yourself if possible. I think, similarly, because I consider myself a laid-back, straight-edge person, that is to say, no drugs, alcohol, smoking, anything like that, will I partake in or do I have an interest in, I still would lobby for law-abiding and conscious adults to make the choices for themselves. Similarly, have I always kind of felt with weapons and stuff like that, that adults of legal age and older, of course, they should have the right, if they so choose, to purchase and brandish weapons, not brandish out in the open. Not so thrilled with that whole Texan thing about, carrying a concealed weapon wherever you go. I think that just makes more trouble than possible, but you also have to heed to statistics like I think it's Canada or the UK where they banned guns, and gun-related violence and crimes have gone down significantly. So I think there is a double-sided thing to the whole story. But what it comes down to for me is I think, especially when it comes to weapons beyond just the typical handguns and shotguns, you don't let children handle these things. I don't care if people want to talk about they discipline their mind and they gain respect from it, they hand-eye coordination. Where are the people who want to throw their kids into, playing video games, reading books and stuff like that? I've never heard any stories about a book accidentally going off and killing some kid named Billy, While the government always tries to lobby and say that video games and violence in film and stuff like that are, contributors and instigators to people who become violent and stuff. I've never once believed any of that, and I think there's a much bigger case for that becoming a real concrete thing if the alternative is weaponry and stuff like that. If an adult wants to own handguns, shotguns, what have you, I think they should be legally okay to do so to a point. I think there should be a limit on, militaristic kind of weaponry like grenade launchers and like Uzis, automatic weapons, full automatic weapons, like you're seeing in this kind of tourist trap gun range and stuff like that, especially for anyone under the age of 18. I think it should be completely off limits. That's my personal opinion. And I just think it's really funny that we live in a world where people try to twist films and video games and all that kind of stuff, certain kinds of literature, as being a negative influence when we have, places you can go and walk into with your 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid and put a gun in their hand. There's a real problem there. So I don't have answers. I'm not going to, pretend to know what the alternative is, but I wanted to voice my concerns and thoughts on it. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you think about this particular story, this 9-year-old who accidentally killed this man, and, her life is probably never going to be the same again, having to live with that. And should she have ever been put in that position in the first place is the question of the day. So otherwise, I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.